The sky above the alien world was painted in soft colors, shades of violet and silver drifting like smoke across the horizon. The human explorer, Captain Ryan Hawley, stood at the edge of his landing craft, his boots pressing into the strange soil. That shimmered under the faint light. He had traveled far, across endless space, searching for new life, new worlds, and perhaps new friends. But nothing had prepared him for what he was about to face. The air was warm, carrying a sweet smell, almost like fruit, but stronger, richer. Strange trees stretched high into the sky, their branches glowing with gentle blue light. Small creatures moved silently in the distance, watching the human with cautious curiosity. Ryan adjusted his helmet, even though the air was safe to breathe. He felt uneasy. This world was alive in a way he could not describe. He took a step forward, his eyes scanning the forest, when suddenly he heard footsteps. They were light, almost like whispers against the ground. Ryan froze, his hand moving to the small blaster at his side. Then, from between the glowing trees, she appeared. She was tall, elegant, and unlike any being Ryan had ever seen. Her skin shimmered faintly, like pearl under sunlight. Her eyes were large, bright, and filled with a strange glow that seemed both kind and dangerous. Her hair, long and flowing, carried colors of silver and green, moving as though it had a life of its own. She wore a simple robe of woven threads that sparkled under the violet sky. Ryan's breath caught in his throat. He had seen aliens before, but none as striking, none that made his heart pound in this way. The girl tilted her head, studying him with curious eyes. Then, without a word, she stepped closer. Ryan raised a hand in caution, unsure of her intentions. But before he could react, she leaned forward and pressed her lips to his. The world seemed to stop. Ryan's eyes went wide as he felt the warmth of her mouth against his. It was not quick, it was not shy, it was direct and filled with energy. A spark ran through his body, his mind spinning, his heart racing like never before. When she pulled away, Ryan stumbled back in shock, his voice shaking. "What are you? Why did you do that?" he whispered, his cheeks burning red. The alien girl blinked at him, confusion on her face. Then she smiled, as though everything was perfectly normal. She spoke in a language he could not understand, her voice soft, melodic, like music carried on the wind. Ryan's translator device buzzed, struggling to keep up. Finally, the words came through in broken English. "That is, hello," she said simply, tilting her head with innocence. Ryan's jaw dropped. "Hello," he repeated, almost choking on the word. His mind spun, trying to understand on her world. A kiss was nothing more than a greeting, not love, not passion, just a simple way to say welcome. But Ryan could still feel the warmth on his lips. It had not felt simple to him. His chest rose and fell quickly. His thoughts tangled between confusion and something he dared not name. The alien girl laughed softly, covering her mouth with delicate fingers. Her eyes sparkled as if she enjoyed his reaction. Ryan tried to calm himself. "This is insane," he muttered. "I just got kissed by a stranger on an alien planet." He looked around, half expecting others to appear. But she stood alone, her eyes fixed only on him. For a moment, it felt like the entire forest held its breath, watching them both. The girl stepped closer again, and Ryan instinctively stepped back, but she reached out, gently touching his arm, her touch soft, almost electric. She leaned in slightly, her lips parting as if ready to greet him again. Ryan quickly raised his hand, shaking his head. Wait, no more hellos, please," he said, his voice panicked. Her smile widened, as though she found his fear amusing. She spoke again, her words flowing like water. The translator crackled and translated. "You are different, but kind. I like your reaction." Ryan's heart skipped a beat. Different, she had called him. He realized he was the only human here, a stranger in her world, yet she seemed drawn to him. Her eyes never left his, and for a moment, the distance between human and alien felt smaller, but deep inside, Ryan could not shake the feeling that this greeting was not as simple as she claimed. There was something behind her kiss, something hidden. It was not just a wordless hello, it was the beginning of something larger, something he could not yet understand, but could already feel in his bones. The alien girl stepped back at last, giving him space. Her gaze was gentle, but mysterious, like she knew more than she was telling. Ryan's hands trembled slightly as he tried to breathe. He told himself it was just cultural difference, nothing more, but in his heart, he knew it was more, much more. As the glowing forest whispered around them, Ryan realized his journey had just begun. And with it, the strangest, most dangerous greeting of his life. Ryan Hawley could not sleep that night. The strange greeting haunted him, the warmth of her lips still lingering like fire against his skin. He lay inside his small landing craft, staring at the metallic ceiling, listening to the hum of the machines. No matter how hard he tried, he could not erase the image of her face, her glowing eyes, and the way she smiled after kissing him. For her, it was normal, just a greeting, but for him, it had shaken everything. Ryan sat up, rubbing his face with tired hands. He had studied alien cultures before, strange customs, odd gestures, even dangerous rituals, but never, in any archive or report, had he seen something like this. A kiss. Something so intimate to humans, being used so casually by another race. It made him feel trapped between two worlds, the logic of an explorer and the emotions of a man. As dawn came, the alien forest glowed brighter. Blue and silver lights danced across the trees, and creatures sang in strange tones. Ryan stepped outside, breathing the warm air, trying to calm himself. But before long, he saw her again, the alien girl, walking lightly through the trees, as if the world itself carried her. His chest tightened, his heart picking up pace. She saw him and smiled brightly, as if yesterday's moment had been nothing unusual. Her robe shimmered under the morning light, and her long silver-green hair moved like water. Ryan swallowed hard, trying to keep his voice steady. Morning, he muttered, his translator picking up the word. The device hummed and translated into her language. She tilted her head, then stepped forward, and before he could stop her, she leaned in again. Ryan's eyes widened. He jerked back, raising his hands. No more hellos, please, he said quickly. His voice nervous, the translator repeated the words, though clumsy. The alien girl blinked in surprise, then laughed softly, covering her mouth with her slender fingers. Her laugh was soft, like bells ringing in the wind. It made Ryan's skin tingle, and that only frustrated him more. He crossed his arms, trying to look serious. Listen, where I come from, kisses are different, he explained. They are not used for greetings. They mean something personal, something special. The translator carried his words slowly, and the girl listened carefully, her eyes glowing with curiosity. When it finished, she nodded, but her smile never faded. You're kind. Strange, the translator echoed her words. But beautiful strange, she added with a tilt of her head. Ryan's face grew warm, and he quickly turned away. This was getting complicated. And far too quickly. As they walked together through the glowing forest, Ryan noticed how the other aliens behaved. They too greeted each other with quick kisses, without hesitation. Two strangers passing by. A family meeting. Even guards at their posts. Every interaction began with that same gesture. To them it was nothing, but to Ryan, each one made his stomach twist. It was a world where his human values felt upside down. The alien girl stayed by his side, guiding him deeper into her land. She spoke often, pointing to trees, rivers, and glowing birds. The translator caught only fragments, but her tone carried excitement, as though she wanted to share everything. With him, Ryan tried to listen, but his mind kept drifting back to that first kiss. Was it really only a greeting, or had she given him something more? Something hidden at one point. She paused and looked at him with an intensity that froze him in place. Her eyes locked on his, and she whispered something in her language. Softer than before, The translator struggled, then produced broken words. You feel different. Your heart speaks loud. Ryan's chest tightened. Did she mean his actual heartbeat? Or something deeper? He opened his mouth to respond, but she stepped closer again, her hand reaching lightly for his. Ryan pulled back, shaking his head, his voice unsteady. Please, don't. Not again. For the first time her smile faded, replaced by a look of curiosity mixed with hurt. Her glowing eyes softened, and she whispered, fear. The translator echoed the word, leaving Ryan speechless. He did not know what to say. Because yes, there was fear, but there was also something else growing inside him, something he could not admit. As the day stretched on, Ryan realized something important. The alien girl did not greet others with the same warmth she gave him. Her kisses to strangers were quick, casual, almost careless. But when she kissed him, there had been a pause, a focus, a depth. It was not the same, and deep down, he knew it. That night, back in his landing craft, Ryan sat alone, his mind spinning. Her face haunted him, her laugh echoed in his ears, and the memory of her kiss burned like fire. He told himself again and again it was just culture, nothing more. But a voice inside whispered otherwise. She had chosen him, somehow, for something beyond a greeting. Ryan leaned back in his chair, closing his eyes. This was only the beginning, and already he was trapped in confusion. Between duty and desire, between logic and heart. He knew one thing for certain tomorrow. When he saw her again, nothing would feel normal. Because her greeting had already changed him forever. Asterisk. The alien world glowed like a dream as night fell. Lights from the trees shimmered softly. Rivers sparkled with a silver glow, and the air carried a hum like hidden music. Ryan Hawley stood at the edge of a cliff, staring at the horizon, trying to quiet the storm inside his mind. He had come here as an explorer, guided by duty. But now he felt something he could not explain. The alien girl, with her strange greetings and bright eyes, had unsettled him in ways no mission ever had. She appeared again, as if drawn to him by unseen threads. Her steps were light, her robe fluttering in the soft breeze, her hair glowing faintly under the stars. Ryan felt his chest tighten every time she came near. The air seemed different, heavier. He wanted to keep his distance, yet could not pull his eyes away. The girl stopped beside him, looking at the glowing horizon with a calm expression. For a long moment, she said nothing, only standing in silence. It was strange, her presence alone seemed to speak louder than words. Ryan finally broke the quiet, his voice low. I don't understand you. I don't understand what you want from me. She turned her head, her bright eyes locking onto his. She whispered in her language, soft and musical. The translator buzzed, struggled, then translated only fragments. You and me more. Not just hello. Ryan's heart stumbled, his hands tightening into fists. Not just hello, she had said. Her words confirmed the fear and the hope tangled inside him. Her kiss had been more than a simple greeting. It had been something personal, something chosen. The girl stepped closer, her fingers brushing against his hand. This time, Ryan did not pull away. Her touch was warm, almost electric, sending shivers up his arm. She leaned in, her lips closed but not touching, her eyes glowing with an intensity that burned through him. Ryan's breath shook, his heart hammering. Why me? He whispered. Why not one of your own? The translator echoed his words, and she tilted her head. Her voice was soft, filled with certainty. You, different. Your heart loud. I hear it. Ryan felt his throat tighten. She wasn't just speaking about his heartbeat. He realized somehow she could sense him, his emotions, his soul, the very part of him he tried to hide. It was terrifying but also magnetic, pulling him closer to her with every second. They walked together that night, deeper into the glowing forest. The world around them seemed alive, plants bending toward them, strange creatures watching silently. At one point, they stopped by a crystal-clear pool, its surface shining like liquid glass. The girl knelt beside it, touching the water with her hand. The pool lit up with glowing ripples, colors spreading across its surface. Ryan gasped softly, amazed. She looked back at him, smiling gently, and whispered, "Share." Before Ryan could ask what she meant, she leaned closer and pressed her lips against his again. This time, the kiss was different, deeper, filled with something beyond a simple greeting. A wave of warmth surged through Ryan, his mind flashing. With strange images, he saw fragments, memories not his own. A child running through glowing fields, laughter under silver skies, a family gathered around radiant fires, then sorrow flashes of battles, dark ships in the sky, fire raining down. Screams echoing in the air. Ryan gasped, stumbling back as the kiss ended, his chest heaving, his eyes wide with shock. He had not just kissed her. He had felt her, seen her past, lived her memories. Ryan stared at her in disbelief, his voice trembling. You put your life into me." "I saw everything," the translator crackled, slowly forming her reply. "Yes, when we greet, we share, but with you, it is stronger." Connection. Ryan's knees felt weak, his mind racing. This was not just cultural difference. This was something bigger. Her people used kisses to share feelings, memories, even parts of themselves. And with him, it was not just a glimpse, it was a flood. Their bond was already deeper than he ever imagined. The girl stepped closer again, her glowing eyes soft but serious. "Now you know. Now you feel," she whispered. Ryan swallowed hard, his chest heavy with emotion. He wanted to deny it, to say he was just an explorer, just passing through. But the truth burned inside him. He was already part of her world, and she was already part of his. The forest around them fell silent, as if listening. Ryan stood frozen, caught between fear and desire, duty and destiny. The girl's hand rested gently on his chest, over his racing heart. Her touch was calm, steady, grounding him when his mind spun out of control. In her eyes he saw something more than curiosity. He saw trust, hope, and something dangerously close to love. For the first time, Ryan did not step back. He let her stay close, let her hand rest on him. A strange peace spread through his chest, even as his mind screamed with confusion. Their bond had grown beyond words, beyond logic, beyond anything he had ever known. And deep inside, Ryan knew this was only the beginning. The connection between them was stronger than either of them understood, and it was pulling them towards something far greater and far more dangerous. The night was quiet, but Ryan's heart was anything but calm. He sat near the glowing pool where the alien girl had shared her memories with him, the water shimmering softly under the silver sky. His mind replayed the visions again and again. Her childhood, her family, and the terrible darkness of war. He had not just kissed her, he had walked through her life, and the weight of it pressed against his chest. The alien girl returned, moving gracefully through the trees, her hair catching the light like threads of silver fire. She looked calm, but Ryan could see something hidden in her eyes, something heavy, something she had not told him. When she sat beside him, close enough for him to feel her warmth, he turned toward her, his voice low. "You gave me more than a greeting," he whispered. "You showed me pain, battles, enemies." "Why?" She lowered her head, her fingers brushing against the water's surface, sending ripples across the glowing pool. Her voice came soft, almost trembling, and the translator carried her words slowly. "Because secret, dangerous. You must know." Ryan's breath caught. She was trusting him with something forbidden, something not meant for outsiders. Her eyes lifted to his, glowing faintly with sorrow and courage. She whispered in her own language, and the translator buzzed with broken words. "Our race, bound by kiss, share all. No lies, no walls, but with you. It is stronger." Ryan leaned forward, his brows tight with confusion. "You mean every kiss reveals truth?" She nodded, her eyes wet with emotion. "Yes, truth. Feelings, memories, All shared. A chill ran down Ryan's spine. For humans, a kiss was a symbol of trust, of intimacy, but for her people, it was law. It forced honesty. It bound souls together. No secret could survive it. No lie could hide. And now with her, Ryan had been tied into something sacred, something her kind might never forgive. Her voice grew lower, heavier. There is more. The forbiddance, she whispered. The translator hesitated, then repeated the words. Leaving Ryan tense, she looked around, as if afraid of being watched, then leaned closer. When my people kiss strangers, only small things shared, but with you, everything opens. No barrier. Ryan's chest tightened. He remembered the flood of images. The way her memories poured into him, it had not been small. It had been overwhelming. He realized now she had given him what was not allowed. He was carrying pieces of her very soul. Why me? Ryan asked, his voice shaky. Why would you risk this? Her eyes softened, her glowing pupils bright against the night. Because I felt you different, your heart strong. You're so loud, she said. Her hand reached for his again, resting over his trembling fingers. I needed you to know. Because danger is near. Ryan's body stiffened. He leaned closer, whispering. What danger? The translator repeated. His words, and her face darkened. She looked away, her jaw tight, then finally spoke. Dark ships. Enemies from sky. They returned soon. Ryan's blood ran cold. The vision he had seen in her memories was not the past, it was the future. Her people were under threat, and she believed he was now part of the answer. He shook his head, overwhelmed. No. I can't. I'm just one man, one explorer. I don't belong in your war. But her hand tightened over his, her voice rising with urgency. You are not just man now. We are connected. You feel me. I feel you. Our bond strong. Her words struck deep, and Ryan could not deny it. Every time she looked at him, every time she touched him, he felt it, the invisible thread pulling them together, the forest. Around them grew eerily still, as though listening. Ryan swallowed hard, his voice almost breaking. If your people find out that you shared this with me, what will happen? Her eyes dimmed, sorrow filling them. They will call me traitor. They will take me away. Maybe end me. Ryan's chest ached at her words. She had risked her life, her place among her people, just to let him in. She had chosen him over her own safety. For a moment, Ryan could not speak. He only stared at her, torn between fear and something far stronger. Finally he whispered, Why would you do that for me? Her lips curved into the faintest smile. Fragile but real. Because, with you, kiss not only hello. It feels alive, she whispered. Ryan's breath caught, his heart pounding like thunder. He wanted to deny it, to step back, to protect himself. But deep down, he already knew the truth. Her forbidden secret was now his, and it tied them together in ways neither could escape. The night wind stirred, carrying the sound of distant thunder. Though no storm lit the sky, Ryan looked toward the horizon, unease twisting in his gut. He knew the danger she spoke of was real, and it was coming, and now, because of her secret, because of their bond, he was no longer just an outsider. He was part of it, part of her fight, part of her fate. The alien girl leaned closer, her forehead resting against his. Her whisper came soft, trembling with both fear and hope. Promise me. You will not leave. Ryan closed his eyes, his voice quiet, but firm. I promise. Asterisk. The next morning, the sky over the alien world was no longer calm. Dark clouds swirled above the horizon. Though no storm had formed, the air felt heavy. Thick with tension, Ryan Hawley stood outside his landing craft, staring at the sky with narrowed eyes. Something was coming. He could feel it in his bones. The alien girl stood beside him, her silver-green hair moving in the restless wind. Her glowing eyes were fixed on the same horizon, her face calm but her hands trembling slightly. Ryan had seen her courage, her laughter, her warmth, but now, for the first time, he saw her fear. It chilled him more than the storm in the sky. She spoke softly, her words rushed, her tone urgent. The translator struggled to keep up, but the message was clear. They are here. The dark ships. The ones from my memory. Ryan's chest tightened. He had seen the images she shared. Flashes of fire and screams. Black vessels cutting through the skies. Now those memories were becoming reality. And he was no longer just an observer. He was tied to her fate. A low rumble echoed across the land. Moments later, dark shapes appeared in the sky. Distant but growing larger. They were ships, massive and sharp-edged, like predators circling their prey. Their black hulls gleamed with cold light, their engines roaring like thunder. Ryan clenched his fists, his instincts screaming at him to run. But his promise to her held him in place. The alien girl turned to him, her face determined despite the fear in her eyes. "You must leave," she said through the translator. "If they find you, they will kill you." Ryan shook his head sharply, his voice firm. "No, I'm not leaving you. You risked everything to share your secret with me. I won't abandon you now." Her lips parted, her expression softening with emotion. For a moment, her glowing eyes shimmered with tears. She pressed her hand to his chest, feeling his racing heart. "Our bond, dangerous for you, but strong for me," she whispered. Ryan covered her hand with his own, his voice low but steady. "Then we face it together." The ships drew closer, casting long shadows across the forest. Alien villagers gathered, their glowing robes moving like rivers of light as they rushed to prepare. Some took up strange weapons shaped from crystal and metal. Others whispered prayers into the wind. Ryan watched them, realizing this was no small raid. It was an invasion. He was standing in the middle of a war he had never asked for. A sudden blast shook the ground. One of the ships fired, sending a beam of burning energy into the distant forest. The explosion lit up the sky, trees collapsing in fire and ash. Creatures scattering in panic. The sound roared through the air, and Ryan felt the heat even from far away. His breath caught, his body tense. This was real, more real than anything he had ever faced. The alien girl grabbed his arm, pulling him toward the village, her voice urgent, filled with desperation. "You must fight with us. Our people will not trust you, but our bond will make them believe." Ryan stumbled after her, his heart pounding. He had trained for exploration, for survival, but not for war. And yet, when he looked into her eyes, he knew he could not walk away. As they entered the village, dozens of her people turned to stare, their glowing eyes fixed on Ryan with suspicion and fear. Whispers filled the air, sharp and fast. The translator picked up fragments. Outsider. Human. Dangerous. Ryan clenched his jaw, standing tall despite the weight of their stares. The alien girl raised her voice, speaking to them with strength. Her words flowed like fire, her hand gripping Ryan's tightly. The translator echoed pieces. "He is with me. He shares our bond. He has seen the truth." Gasps spread among the villagers, their eyes widening. Some stepped back, others whispered in disbelief. Ryan understood what she had done. Sharing her memories with him was forbidden, and now she had declared it openly, tying his fate to hers. Before the villagers could respond, another blast shook the ground. Closer this time, the sky tore open with fire as one of the black ships descended, its weapons glowing. Panic spread through the crowd, screams filled the air. Ryan's hand tightened around hers, his voice shaking but determined. "Tell me what to do." She looked at him, her glowing eyes fierce with resolve. "You fight with me," she said, her voice trembling with both fear and trust. Ryan swallowed hard, his mind racing. He was only one man, but now he carried her secret, her bond, her hope, and deep down, he knew that this fight was no longer just hers, it was his too. As the enemy ships roared overhead, casting shadows like death across the land, Ryan realized the truth. The kiss that had once been only a strange greeting was now a weapon, a bond, a promise. And through that bond, he was no longer alone. The threat had been revealed. And it was only the beginning. The ground shook as the black ships descended, their engines roaring like thunder across the alien skies, flames lit. The horizon, the once glowing forest now burning in patches of red and orange. Ryan Hawley stood with the alien girl at the edge of the village, his heart pounding so hard he thought it might tear out of his chest. He had never been in a battle like this, never faced such danger. Yet he knew he could not run. Not now, not after everything that tied him to her. The villagers armed themselves with crystal spears and glowing blades, their eyes hard with fear and courage. They looked at Ryan with suspicion, but also with something else, curiosity. Why was this outsider standing among them? Why had their own girl chosen to bind herself to him? Ryan clenched his fists, trying to steady his breathing. He had no alien weapon, only a small blaster from his ship. But his resolve was stronger than ever. The alien girl placed her hand on his chest, her eyes glowing like fire. "Do not fear," she whispered, her voice steady. "We are one now. Your strength is mine." Ryan felt warmth spread from her touch, calm washing over his panic. It was as if their bond reached deeper than his own body, her courage flowing into him like a river. For the first time he believed he might survive. The first wave of enemy soldiers landed, dropping from the black ships like shadows. They were tall and armored, their bodies wrapped in dark steel, their faces hidden behind cruel masks. The moment their boots struck the ground, they raised weapons that crackled with burning energy. The air filled with the hiss of fire and the screams of battle. The villagers charged, their glowing blades clashing against the enemy's weapons, sparks flying like stars. Ryan's instincts took over. He fired his blaster, the beam cutting through one of the soldiers, dropping him to the ground. But another enemy rushed forward, swinging a heavy blade of energy straight at him. Ryan froze for a split second. But the alien girl moved faster. She pulled him aside, the blade missing him by inches, her own glowing spear striking the soldier down in a flash of light. Ryan gasped, staring at her in awe. She fought with a grace he had never seen, every movement precise, every strike filled with fire. Her eyes never left him, even in the chaos. Every time he stumbled, she was there, pulling him back, covering his side. It was as if their bond guided them both, moving as one. At one point, Ryan fell hard to the ground, his blaster slipping from his grip. A soldier loomed over him, weapon raised to strike. But before the blow could land, the alien girl cried out, diving between them. She caught the strike with her blade, sparks exploding in the air. Her body trembled with the force, but she did not fall. Ryan scrambled up, grabbing his blaster, firing into the soldier's chest until he dropped. He turned to her, his voice shaking. "You almost died for me." Her glowing eyes softened, even in the fire and chaos. "For us," she said simply. "Not for you alone. For us." Her words struck him harder than the battle itself. This was no longer just survival. It was love born in the heart of war. Every kiss they had shared, every secret, every promise, it all led to this moment. Ryan felt it now, stronger than ever. They were not two beings from different worlds. They were one, tied by something beyond logic, beyond species, beyond war. The battle raged on. Enemy after enemy pouring from the skies. The villagers fought bravely, their glowing weapons clashing with the darkness. Ryan and the alien girl stood side by side, their movements guided by the bond between them. When he raised his blaster, she covered his flank. When she charged forward, he was there to shield her back. Together, they became something greater than either alone. But war always demands a price. As the night burned around them, a blast struck near Ryan, throwing him violently to the ground. Pain shot through his side. His vision blurred, the world spinning. He heard her scream his name, raw and desperate, through the haze. He saw her drop to her knees beside him, tears burning in her glowing eyes. "Stay with me," she whispered, her hands pressing against his wound, her voice breaking. Ryan coughed, his strength fading. "I can't. I'm not strong enough," he muttered weakly. But she shook her head fiercely, her hair whipping around her face. "No, you are mine now. You promised me. You cannot leave." She leaned down, pressing her lips to his in the middle of the battlefield. The kiss burned like fire, flooding through him, and once again, memories surged, not hers this time, but his. He felt her pulling them, sharing his pain, his fear, his will to live, at the same time. She poured herself into him, her courage, her love, her very soul. Ryan gasped as strength returned, warmth filling his broken body. He opened his eyes, looking into hers, glowing brighter than ever. She smiled through her tears, whispering, "See, we are one. Nothing can break us." The battle raged on, but Ryan no longer felt alone. With her by his side, their bond stronger than ever, he rose to his feet. The enemy still pressed forward, but together they stood like fire against the darkness. Love had become their weapon, and in that moment, Ryan knew no matter what came, he would fight for her, for them, for everything they had become. The battlefield was quiet at last. The black ships had fallen back, their engines fading into the clouds, leaving behind smoke and ruin. Fires burned in the distance, and the ground was scarred with craters, broken weapons, and bodies that would never rise again. Ryan Hawley stood weakly, his breath ragged, his body trembling with exhaustion. The alien girl was by his side, her glowing spear still in her hand, though her robe was torn and stained. Her silver-green hair clung to her face with sweat and ash, but her eyes still shone bright. When she looked at Ryan, it was not with fear or sorrow, but with a warmth that pierced through the chaos around them. She had almost lost him once, and she would not let it happen again. Ryan's knees buckled, and he dropped to the ground, his strength nearly gone. Pain shot through his side where the blast had struck him, blood seeping through his torn suit. A girl cried out, kneeling beside him, her hands shaking as she tried to hold him up. "No. Stay with me," she whispered, her voice breaking. "You cannot leave now." Ryan's vision blurred, the world dimming. He wanted to speak, to tell her not to cry, but the words caught in his throat. All he could feel was the weight of their bond, pulling him toward her, refusing to let go. His lips parted, weak and trembling. "I kept my promise. I stayed. But I don't know if I can go further." The alien girl's tears fell onto his chest, glowing faintly like drops of silver. She shook her head, her voice fierce despite her fear. "No. Our bond is not finished. It cannot end here, not with you." Her glowing eyes locked onto his, desperate and filled with love. Then, without hesitation, she leaned down and kissed him. But this kiss was not like the others. It was not a greeting, not a playful gesture, not even the deep sharing of memories they had known before. This kiss was everything. She poured herself into him, her strength, her love, her hope, her very life. Ryan felt the fire of her soul flooding into him, burning away the darkness that tried to pull him down. His chest rose sharply, his lungs filling with new breath. Warmth spread through his broken body, stitching together the pieces that pain had tried to tear apart. In that moment, he felt not just her memories, but her future, her dreams, her longing for a life with him, and he gave her his in return, his sorrow, his loneliness, his yearning for a place to belong. Together, their lives twisted into one thread, unbreakable. When the kiss ended, Ryan gasped, his eyes opening wide. Strength pulsed through him, though his body still ached. The alien girl leaned back, her face wet with tears, but smiling through them. "You see," she whispered, "we are one. No death can take that away." Ryan's heart thundered in his chest. He looked at her, really looked at her, and knew she was right. For her race, a kiss had been only a greeting, but for them, it had become the very meaning of love, something no enemy, no war, no distance could erase. The villagers gathered slowly, their glowing eyes fixed on the pair. Some whispered in awe, others bowed their heads in silence. They had seen the bond, felt its power, and for the first time, they accepted it. Ryan was no longer an outsider. Not after this. He had fought, bled, and nearly died for them, and through her, he had become part of their world. The alien girl helped him stand, her arms steady around him. Together, they looked toward the horizon where the black ships had vanished. The threat was not gone, only delayed. But Ryan no longer felt fear. He had something stronger, a reason to fight, a reason to live. She turned to him, her lips curving into a soft smile. Her glowing eyes filled with warmth. "Hello," she whispered, leaning in once more. This time, Ryan did not pull back, did not stumble in confusion. He kissed her in return, not as a greeting, but as an answer. For her people, it was just hello, but for him, it was everything. The glowing forest swayed in the wind, carrying the echoes of their bond into the night. The war would return, challenges would come, but Ryan knew he would never face them alone, because the final greeting had become their first true promise. A promise that no matter what, they would walk forward together, one heart, one bond, one love, across two worlds.